That works for you and the business, right, Preston?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to worry about it.
Plus, there's IT-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation from James Imaging Systems.
I've got information that I can then go to my superiors with and say, hey, here's how we can save a little bit of money.
And
then I kind of look like the hero, too.
Want to be the hero in your office? Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Hi, I'm Tony Dungy, and I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible work being done by PRISM Economic Development Corporation. Real change happens when people are given the opportunity to step into their God-given purpose. PRISM is doing just that, helping aspiring food entrepreneurs and small business owners turn their dreams into sustainable reality.
Join Tony Dungy and learn more about Prism Economic Development Corporation in Milwaukee at prismedc.org.
It's a bird bash at Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to $50,000 cash in the Bird Bash game show. Just play with your rewards card this October for a chance to win. Wouldn't you like to rake in a huge pile of cash? Bird Bash, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info at potawatomi.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
With 18 unforgettable holes on 250 acres of natural private land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog.
Hey, it's Jen Latta, and I just had my walk-in closet redesigned by Closets by Design. Doug and his team in Mequon were amazing, from the first consultation to the final install, and now I have a beautiful, organized space for all of my clothes. They really brought my vision to life. Locally owned with the backing of a trusted national brand, they deliver expert design with a personal touch. Get 40% off plus an extra 15% off and take advantage of 18-month free financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN. And don't forget to tell them Jen from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy sent you.
Hi, I'm attorney David Gruber. After an accident, you need a trusted winning team on your side. For more than 30 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped Wisconsin families get the results they deserve. If you've been injured, call our firm today for a free consultation. We're available 24/7. Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN. The market is open, and the hot takes are trading fast. From bold predictions to brutal realities, it's time to put the takes on the table. Are you buying or are you selling? It's time to buy or sell.
Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday continues. Greg and Gary at the beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook. Monday night doubleheader tonight. They are underway in Atlanta. Got the Falcons taking on the Bills. Atlanta's a pretty good team, as you mentioned, Gary. A better defense than anybody gives credit for being. They've got some explosive playmakers on offense. Off to a good start here are the Bills at 4-1. Atlanta's record is, I don't think, as good as what their team is. They're just 2-2 right now. But they do have some interesting pieces playing at home tonight. So interesting game to watch here on Monday Night Football. Time to do buy or sell. Some observations, some things that we have seen from the Green Bay Packers after 5 games. Are you buying or are you selling? Are you ready to play?
Let's do it, Greg.
Well, the window is open for Christian Watson's return. Are you buying or selling that Watson is a bigger key to the Packers' offense than Jaden Reed?
That's a good one. Let's go sell, because I feel like Jaden Reed does so many other things. Now, although Christian Watson can play inside, he can play outside. But it feels like they can motion Jaden Reed a little bit more. They can get him in the backfield. They can isolate him in the middle. They can get him on the outside. To me, he feels like he's a little bit more versatile than what Christian Watson is. Now, don't get me wrong. they'll need Christian Watson when he's available because he does add another deep threat to that offense.
You know, they've connected on a couple of deep-ish balls so far this season, right? Matthew Golden had a 35-yarder just yesterday. In fact, he averaged about 30 yards per reception. He did some damage with his legs after the catch, but you know, Watson is a bona fide deep threat. I wouldn't call Jaden Reed that. Romeo Doubs can win one-on-ones, but is not as much of a separator, right? I mean, all these receivers have their merits without question. Watson is a true difference maker with his speed. Right,
yeah, no doubt about it.
You want to load the box on Josh Jacobs when you got a dude who can run a 4.3 on the outside. Be careful with that. And, you know, they're trying to unlock that with Matthew Golden, but you got to feel like his life will, too, be made a little easier with Watson's return. And this window is open for his return, which I think is remarkable because he's only about, you know, a little over 9 months removed from a torn ACL. That happens when you play. I mean, it's a full year, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the first guy that we ever saw coming back as early as they did was Adrian Peterson. That was I think that was the first start of a guy that could really do that with an ACL tear.
We will see here, but the window is open for Christian Watson to return. Matt LaFleur likely to be asked about that as the practice week gets up and running on Wednesday. All right, next one. Buy or sell. Through 5 games, the Packers have a turnover differential of -1. Are you buying or selling that the Packers can win the division with a negative turnover differential?
Another good one because they're not getting turnovers at all.
So why?
Nowhere near getting turnovers. They're not even sniffing turnovers. They're not causing fumbles. And that's kind of where it's got to come because it feels like after the Dallas game, everything is quick passing. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, ball's gone. And so they don't really have an opportunity to get an interception. Teams are not really pushing the ball that far down the field. I would say I'd sell that. I think they can be where they want to be with the limited amount of turnovers that they've got. And they've got to be a little bit more efficient offensively.
You know, and it's pretty crazy because at this time last year, you know, 5 weeks into the season, Xavier McKinney had a pick in every game, right? I mean, it was just, they were coming in waves. I never know how to take turnovers. Are they a product of luck? Ball bounces off a dude's helmet, ricochets off the hands, right? And it bounces into yours. Or do the best teams in the league, with regard to turnover differential, actually do something different than another team?
Well, there's specific players that do something different. The peanut, what was it? The peanut, I forget what they call it. Peanut punch. I mean, he invented that, and a lot of guys around the league started doing that. So he got a lot of turnovers. So I think there are some guys that understands how to make the football get it out of guys' hands. So I don't know if the Packers really have. I know they coach it because I've been to practices, and I know Hafley is all over there as far as let's create more turnovers. But they just haven't been able to get them. And I think right now what you see, Xavier McKinney, you talked about him last year, no one's even pressing McKinney anymore on the back end. He's not even in the film anymore. They're staying away from him. Everything is outside. If you start talking about interceptions, everything is outside by, let's say, by the numbers or further outside net on the sidelines. So it stops him from roaming so much all over the place.
You're doing a pretty good job of defending passes, you know, pass defended.
Yeah.
You know, Keyshawn Nixon getting his hand in to knock a ball away. I think one of the picks that the Packers do have, McKinney has it, and you could have argued that he should have just batted that ball down, right? Because it was on a 4th down play, and he'd take the field position. But, you know, he's got to make money too, right?
Yeah.
It looks good on the stat line. I totally get that. Matt LaFleur clearly frustrated, however, with the lack of takeaways. Moving on, more buy or sell here, Gary. The Packers' defense has allowed 22 first-half points this season through 5 games. That's a remarkably low total. They've allowed 80 second-half points through 5 games. By comparison, that is a remarkably high total. Are you buying or selling Jeff Hafley's ability to adjust to teams that make second-half adjustments?
It has to get better, no doubt, because that's what scares you right now. They can't close out defensively. Now, are they tired? I don't know. You're right. Do they go in and make adjustments? And Hafley doesn't have he can't counter it because that's what you have to do. I think you'll see him get better. I'll buy that. I think you'll see this defense get better as the season goes along. I just think we know in the secondary that outside the corners, we're being exploited right now on the corners. So they've got to play better and maybe play a little bit more man on the outside.
Be curious to see where that goes, because that is a frustrating component.
Or sticky coverage, as you would say.
Sticky coverage. Yeah. We like that. We do like that. But, how do you let a team like the Bengals come back in the fourth quarter like the Packers did? It made it kind of interesting, right? How does that happen, right? You could see the momentum, and Zach Taylor even talked about it going into halftime. Yeah, saw a couple of things that we liked on that final drive before halftime, and we'll see if we can build on it. And they did. They get the ball back, and they go more than 10 minutes with the ball and end up in the end zone of the touchdown.
Well, they said, screw it. We're going to throw it to Jamar Chase.
Might as well.
We just do it. Fine. That's the only way we're going to win. So all the other stuff that they were doing was all underneath stuff. They were being conservative. And then they came out in the second half and go, let's just get the playmakers the ball. If Flacco throws a pick, he throws a pick, so be it. And I think that's the game plan that actually changed. You've got the best receiver in the NFL in Jamar Chase. He's going to be double coverage. Just throw it in there anyway, and hopefully he makes the catch, and he did.
Lots to get to here on this final half hour of the program, including a look ahead to the Arizona Cardinals, the Packers' opponent in week number 7. That's a team that is in every game, but they have lost 4 straight games and also starting to drop like flies due to injury. We'll get to that turning point from yesterday's game and more after this. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Hi, I'm Tony Dungy, and I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible work being done by PRISM Economic Development Corporation. Real change happens when people are given the opportunity to step into their God-given purpose. PRISM is doing just that, helping aspiring food entrepreneurs and small business owners turn their dreams into sustainable reality.
Join Tony Dungy and learn more about Prism Economic Development Corporation in Milwaukee at prismedc.org.
Did you forget the first day of school is this week and little Nancy still needs her name embroidered on her backpack? Or the company shirts are due now, not next week? Maybe the boss just declared Steve's retirement party is today and the shirts are mandatory? Whatever the rush, Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more in Mequon has got you covered with fast turnarounds, no minimums, eco-friendly printing, and high-quality custom apparel. Big Frog brings your custom ideas to life fast. Stop by Big Frog in Mequon or visit bigfrog.com/Mequon. Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more, where your ideas leap to life.
I've been to my fair share of green and gold games, and the best way to get there is with Accutrans Group. At Good Karma Brands and ESPN Milwaukee, we use Accutrans Group to get our partners to and from Green Bay, and it's always first class. From stadiums to concerts and tailgates, your game day fun starts the moment you step on board. Sit back, relax, and let their professional chauffeurs handle the traffic while you enjoy the ride. Accutrans Group is Milwaukee's premier ground transportation, available 24/7 with sedans, SUVs, limos, vans, and buses. Book today at AccuTransGroup.com.
When you're injured, you want quick, specialized care, not a long ER wait. The orthopedic care specialists at Ortho ASAP treat fractures, sprains, strains, sports injuries, and more right away. With on-site x-rays and expert care, Ortho ASAP gets you back on track faster. Open 7 days a week with locations in Brookfield and Pewaukee, it's more affordable than the ER. Walk in, get treated, and get back to life. Ortho ASAP. There is a difference. Visit orthowisconsin.com.
Every great team starts with a strong defense, and the same's true in business. That's why companies trust Trend Micro for cybersecurity. From ransomware to phishing to the most advanced cyber threats, they help protect your network, your data, and your people. With over 35 years of expertise, Trend Micro has built a defensive playbook trusted by enterprises worldwide. Your business works too hard to get blindsided. Go to trendmicro.com and see how enterprise security is done right. That's trendmicro.com.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
When the leaves start to fall and your roof starts to call, fix it in the fall, fix it in the fall. If your shingles looking rough and your gutters full of stuff, get it fixed before it's froze, man. It's time to call the pro. We patch it, we match it, we stop that drip. Free estimates, quick fix. Don't let your roof slip. Your home's your castle. We keep it tight. Call Avondale Roofing. They roof it right. Fall deals dropping it like it's hot. Call Avondale Roofing at 855-819-7663.
At Ewald Automotive, we make it easier than ever to get you into America's best-selling trucks and SUV during Ewald Truck and SUV Month. Ford, Ram, Chevy, GMC, Jeep, Kia, Volkswagen, and more. Ewald is your one-stop shop for trucks and SUV. All makes, models, and sizes. Choose 0 down, 0 payments till 2026, or 0% financing. All with our low price guarantee. All in one place. Ewald Truck and SUV Month going on now.
Go to ewaldauto.com.
On select models with approved credit. See dealer for details. Expires month end.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Mention catching and rushing, 1st and 10. Fake to Jacobs. It's off to the tight end. Kraft galloping inside. Touchdown.
Well, hitch a ride to Milwaukee Brewers home games on the Potawatomi Sportsbook Game Day Shuttle. All you got to do is make a purchase here in the Sportsbook or Same Day Sports Bet. You'll get a wristband and you got a seat. Take the shuttle to the game. Shuttle will bring you back after the game as well. For more, visit Potawatomi.com. Brewers baseball tonight, simulcast here, 620 WTMJ and 94.5 ESPN. For that reason, Gary and I will be out of here in about a half hour. Love to Kraft. Turning point in yesterday's game. That gets my vote here, Gary, because it made it 24-10. It ensured a 2-score advantage here for the Packers. It happened in the fourth quarter, and it also answered a Bengals drive. They're starting to feel themselves a little bit. They get into the end zone. They make things a little bit interesting. All of a sudden, the Packers got to come up with something, and they're able to do it. And it's a clean 6-play, 62-yard drive, 3 minutes, 10 seconds. I know Cincinnati made things kind of interesting down the stretch, but that, to me, that's when I started to feel like, okay, if I was holding my breath, I was able to exhale a little bit then.
Right, because the last touchdown that they got with Jamar Chase was kind of that still made the game a little closer than you would like to, but you still felt that the Packers had command of the game. Yeah, I don't disagree with you with the Tucker Kraft touchdown. I think what we've seen this Packers team been able to do in certain situations, the offense basically is answer the bell, answer the call. When they needed a touchdown or needed some points, they've been able to go down and get them. The Cowboys game was case in point. Once again, the defense just couldn't get a stop. In this game, it felt like the same thing really in the second half. The defense just couldn't get a stop. I thought the Cleveland game, the defense played really well. I think that was the last time they played well was against Cleveland, the defense. But these last 2 games, something's not right with the defense that they got to get fixed.
So I am right, and it's amazing how this season started because everything was right with the defense, and the offense was doing enough and certainly had their moments, but the defense was getting all the headlines. When I've got back-to-back games separated by a bye week in which the Packers offense has put up, I'd say, better than average point production. You score 40 against Dallas, albeit it took overtime to do it, but that's impressive. More than likely you're going to win those games. They ended up tying. You get 27 against the Bengals, but you still feel like you left a few out there.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
That first drive interception, case in point here for the Packers. So, but ultimately, Jordan Love's performance, how do you view it here, these last 2 games? Is the offense starting to move in that right direction? That marriage between run and pass, is that a work in progress? How do you view it?
No, not yet. I still think it's a work in progress. Because we talked about it. I think once you get Deshaun Watson back, once you get Jaden Reed back, that's probably going to upset the apple cart a little bit because now you got to get those guys in there with already what you're doing with Matthew Golden, right? You've got Tucker Kraft, Romeo Doubs. What's his role? I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yes,
don't get me wrong. But I think it upsets the offense just a little bit, trying to get all these pieces back together and to get a smooth offense. Now, it will be an offense that should be very high-powered along with Josh Jacobs if you can get back to running the football, play action pass, and doing those types of things. So the promise is really within this offense when they get healthy to see what they really can be about.
Quick injury update for you from Matt LaFleur earlier today. Lucas Van Ness left yesterday's game with a foot injury. Looks like he avoided anything catastrophic, so he could miss some time, but it doesn't appear to be anything significant or that would require an IR stint. They seem kind of borderline on that thought right now, but to this point, Lucas Van Ness is still part of the active roster, not on injured reserve. Was not a concussion for Javon Bullard. He suffered a stinger in yesterday's game. And I would say that hopefully they get their kicker back before too long, but props to Lucas Havrasik, a man who I'd never heard of in my life until I saw he was on the active roster for the Green Bay Packers, signed out the Colts practice squad. It's amazing to me that you got a guy like that on speed dial, essentially, right? I mean, it's amazing, the scouting department, what they do, who they target, when you've got break glass in case of emergency situation. But they found a dude to come into a difficult situation and make some kicks. Kind of
pressure
the game
kicks
stuff, man.
Pressure kicks. School teacher. Not dealing with the kids anymore.
You're right.
Maybe this is easier.
Dealing
I'm
with
not
Trey
sure.
Hendrickson.
Yeah. So, pressure kicks. Kudos goes to the coaching staff, Brian Gutekunst, obviously, and those guys at scouts that go out and try to find these guys and bring them in here at a moment's notice, and still, I think, was a big difference maker in that game.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. But when you're a kicker, I mean, you can go out and kick after school. I mean, if he was at a high school or if he was teaching at a middle school, or they've got a football field somewhere around there where he can go get it done.
No big difference, though. The big difference is that there's not 80,000 people at that high school watching you.
That is true. That is true. So
and
your
the
nerves,
swirling.
The nerves are a little bit different, and it's not Lambeau Field, right? So you've got a guy, because everybody talks about kick. If you talk to a lot of kickers, and they talk about kicking at Lambeau Field, where they got to get out there a little bit early, especially in the wintertime, Greg, you know this because you go to all the games. How that stadium swirls in one end. I think the south end, it swirls a little bit different than it does in the north end.
Yes.
So it could be, depending on which way the wind's blowing, that day it could be very difficult for those kickers.
That's game ball for sure, man. DeLucas Havrasik, that's I don't know how many games he'll be kicking in a Packers uniform, but wearing Michael Haddock's old number, 35. He did it, right?
Yeah.
Answered the bell wearing number 35 as a kicker. That's like a college kicker number.
35.
That's like we got nothing else. I don't know.
That's all we got. 35.
Just take this.
Yeah.
You cool with this?
That's it. That's all you get.
I'm guessing you didn't get to pick.
No, I think they just gave it to him. 35, you got it.
No, I don't know if you got to call the Haddock's family and get that all cleared out.
No. There's only a few of those numbers that you got to make a phone call.
Right.
That's not one of them.
Let's dive into the Packers' next opponent here. Let's learn a little about the Arizona Cardinals, shall we?
When the story isn't in Green Bay, you got to go straight to the source. Each week, we check in with the people on the inside. This is Not My Beat.
Well, the goal of the segment here is to take a little dive into the Packers' next opponent, see if we can figure them out. What do they do best? Where do they struggle? Are they dealing with any massive injuries? And what is their trend line? What does their trend line suggest? Are they a team on the up? Are they a team on the decline? How do they arrive to their record? In the case of the Arizona Cardinals, a couple things really stand out to me about their schedule so far this season. It's been a little bit division heavy, right? They've had some division opponents here. Started the season with 2 straight wins and have 4 straight losses. So they host the Green Bay Packers, looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. But here's what stands out to me most about each of the games they played. Had a 1-touchdown win over the Saints in week number 1. Had a 5-point win over the Panthers in week number 2. Their 4 losses, Gary. Their 4 losses are by a combined 9 points. 4 losses. A 1-point loss to the 49ers, 3-point loss to Seattle, division matchups, a 1-point loss to the Titans, and a 4-point loss to a Colts team that is very interesting.
Very good team.
That was a road loss here for the Cardinals, but they were in it. They played pretty well. What are your takeaways on the Arizona Cardinals? I mean, just that snapshot alone tells you they are in every game. Everything is close.
You're right, and it's going to be tough to just go play there in their building, but Kyler Murray may not play. Marvin Harrison Jr. may not play. They have a tight end that's absolutely incredible, that's really good. So I think if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't play, he'll be the guy that they're going to go through a lot. He should be able to handle that. But they're a team that are very dangerous with Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray can get out of pocket and create and do a lot of different things for you. So for me, I think it's more about in this matchup, Greg, we just talk about Arizona's offense and our defense. Our defense has got to step up and take care of business. We got to get back to where we were that first and second game of the year. And not so much worry about who's there and who's not there. Now, because I think we got caught up in that with Flacco being the quarterback, and we thought, I don't know if they thought maybe it was going to be an easier day, but most certainly Flacco didn't make any mistakes, and it made the game much closer. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be if Kyler Murray can't go in Arizona, but they've got to be a little bit more sound into what they're doing. There's no excuse for Cincinnati to get that many points and drive down the field in the second half like they did. There's no excuse for the Dallas Cowboys to put up 40 points on that defense and you walk out of there with a tie. So the defense must play better.
Well, we'll see on the quarterback situation throughout the course of the week. I would say, what do the Cardinals do best? I'd say when they had James Conner, thing they did the best was run the football. Right? So this is one of the main
play
issues
action
now.
pass to the tight end, yeah.
Good receiving back,
Yeah.
right? Steady back. Maybe not a monster ceiling, but a pretty high floor. That's James Conner. Good, steady back. And he goes down with a pretty big-time injury. They've had difficulty staying healthy at that position. The backup got hurt. The backup to the backup got hurt. So now you're down to a fourth running back here trying to establish the run with a guy that is barely lucky to be rostered. So James Conner injury is a significant one, no doubt about that. You mentioned the injury to Kyler Murray. Hey, look, Jacoby Brissett, you might argue, passes the ball even better, but he's not as mobile. Murray's very mobile and has had difficulty getting on the same page as anyone except their tight end, Trey McBride. So
right. That's it.
Their passing game is a conundrum to me. Their running back is down to the fourth string. I don't know what they do best today, but they are in every game. Maybe that is what they do best. They find a way to keep every game interesting and hope for a chance at the end.
And that's tough for the Packers because they haven't been able to put anybody away. And so you're right. Jacoby Brissett is a veteran that's been in the league for a while that don't really hurt you. So another Flacco come to mind. And so he's not going to make a lot of mistakes. So what the Packers have to do is they've got to force them into third and long and see if we can finally get a pass rush and get some turnovers.
Packers take on the Cardinals for a 3:25 kick here Sunday. It'll be on the road in Arizona. Arizona's secondary, also a major weakness. It should be a good game here for Jordan Love and the Packers' passing attack behind an offensive line that appears to be getting healthier. Nice to see Zach Tom on the field over the weekend. As for aggravating that oblique injury, Matt LaFleur said there's a little discomfort there. But when you saw him play on special teams, that was, I think a good sign. I didn't need to see him on special teams.
The sign is that it's go time. We're done. Bisaccia, we're best players on the field.
Yeah.
That's rarely the case that you see a guy like that playing special teams.
We'll take a walk around the NFL. What is real and what is not after 6 weeks of the NFL season. Keep you updated here on Monday Night Football as well. Part of a Monday night doubleheader that the Bears and Commanders will be kicking off in the 7 o'clock hour. Looks like kind of a rainy, windy night in the nation's capital. Much more after this on ESPN Wisconsin.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. All day, every day. The Carbless talk and text line is open for you.
First off, there is not one team that's on the fringe that scares me.
800-990-3776. The Carbless talk and text line. This is more. Stay up to date on the green and gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Hi, I'm Tony Dungy, and I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible work being done by PRISM Economic Development Corporation. Real change happens when people are given the opportunity to step into their God-given purpose. PRISM is doing just that, helping aspiring food entrepreneurs and small business owners turn their dreams into sustainable reality.
Join Tony Dungy and learn more about PRISM Economic Development Corporation in Milwaukee at prismedc.org.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. with Freddie Coleman.
Well, the Eagles are hoping that a Holy Trinity meeting is going to benefit their offense going forward starting tonight against the New York Giants, even though they're 4-1. Saquon Barkley, the running back, the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and wide receiver A.J. Brown had a meeting a couple of days ago to try to fix what ails the offense. Let's get right down to the real in the Eagles' struggles offensively. It comes down to the offensive line, where a couple of guys are beat up from the feet up, even going back to last year and trying to overcome that and not having enough recovery time when it comes to this year. No matter what disconnect is there between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley has not had one 20-yard-plus run this year after having 20-plus last year. Whatever is going to happen for the Eagles to be better offensively, it all has to do with the offensive line, and they have to try to get healthy in an unhealthy sport. Good luck to the Eagles. They hope that meeting is going to pay off, but the offensive line is not moving people around. It is not going to matter. In 60 seconds, Asia Wilson, it is your world.
Hey, it's Kirk Herbstreit. On game day, great prep makes all the difference. Same goes for your pizza. That's why I go with Frigidaire Stone-Baked Pizza Oven. Fresh pizzas go from dough to done in just 2 minutes.
Whether you're throwing a party or squeezing in dinner between plays, this oven delivers hot, crispy, restaurant-quality pizza right from your kitchen. Only from Frigidaire. Game-ready pizza. Get it today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Gray gets it in. Wilson on the drive. The fade. You bet.
It's not that she had the game-winning shot last night over two defenders to give the Las Vegas Aces a stranglehold 3-0 lead in the WNBA Finals over the Phoenix Mercury. It's just that Aja Wilson keeps telling everybody who is somebody, y'all can mess around with me if you want. You can say that this player's on my level or that player's on my level. Nobody is on her level. Right now, she is the most dominant athlete in their sport more than anybody else. I don't care if it's football. I don't care if it's men's basketball. I don't care if it's baseball. I don't care if it's tennis. No one is on her level. And time again, she keeps having to reminding people of that. Like last night, for example, 34 points, 11-plus rebounds, and that game-winning shot. She was named after a great album by Steely Dan. But Aja Wilson, she has been that entire thing for the Aces and the WNBA. Keep playing with her, you're going to get burned. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Wrapping up another edition of Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Just an hour show here. We'll join coverage of Brewers baseball on 94.5 ESPN at the top of the hour. 7:08 the first pitch. Game being simulcasted on 620 WTMJ. So Gary and Greg are out at 7. But first, we welcome in from Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. Read his outstanding work at channel3000.com. Always great to connect with Jason Wilde. Hey, Jason.
Hi, guys. Thanks for accommodating me.
Yeah, no doubt. Happy to have you on. So we've asked our fans here their one-word description of Sunday's win over the Bengals. I've got ugliness, I've got unimpressed, I've got sleepy, I've got apathetic, all things kind of in that world. How do you think Matt LaFleur digests yesterday's game, Jason?
I think he digests it as we haven't won in a month, so we won, and that's what matters. And, you know, look, and I'm sure you guys have spent ample time on it. Like, there's plenty to criticize. The last two games, their defense has not closed out games. Jordan Love is playing at an extremely high level, and then he's making basically one, or in the Cowboys game, two mistakes that drag down what would be an A-plus grade. So, but my favorite thing that LaFleur has said in the last several weeks was when he said, I don't want us to be playing our best football in September. I want us to be playing our best football in December and January. And I kind of wanted to interrupt him and say, after he said, I don't want us playing our best football in September, well, congratulations, because they're not. Because they have been up and down And yesterday there were ups and downs in the game, but I think Matt LaFleur feels like, all right, they got this under their belt. Now they can start building some momentum, see what they can do in Arizona, and then obviously they've got the matchup with the previous quarterback in Pittsburgh.
I guess my biggest concern today would be the defense and maybe the lack thereof a pass rush. Now, it feels like offenses, well, Dak Prescott, obviously, and then this game in particular, they're throwing quick passes. So they're not really getting much down the field, and they're getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands. So that kind of hampers you a little bit when you get to the quarterback, but it still feels like if you take the Dallas game and then this game, second half of this game, they just can't get a stop and get off the field. That's pretty concerning to me.
It is, and Matt LaFleur, I asked him about that today, and he said that he and Hafley actually spent a good chunk of the day trying to figure out, are they running out of gas? Are they not in good enough condition? Do they need to run guys more? Did they not work hard enough during the bye week? Like, those are all things that because they're at a loss as to why. Now, let's be honest. The first point you made from a pass rush perspective is 1,000% true. Like, I think they usually, we learned this years ago when they brought out that clock that said 2.5 seconds that they wanted the ball. And that was when Rodgers was the quarterback. But they wanted the ball out in 2.5 seconds, which, of course, Rodgers would extend plays all the time. But LaFleur said that yesterday they clocked Flacco in the second half, and it was like 2.0 something. Like, that's a full half second faster on average than they even shoot for. So that's exactly what's happening. And look, if you were Gary, I'm going to put you in charge of being the offensive coordinator of the Packers' opponents, and you see Micah Parsons on the other side, and you see these other guys who have benefited from Micah Parsons being on this team. I don't know about you, but one of the things I'm telling my guy at under center is get the ball out of your hand quicker, because that's the best way to neutralize a really good pass rush, and they have in the last two games.
And then to me, the solution to that would be, and I think we heard this word somewhere down the line, they got to play a little bit more sticky coverage, which means that if it's only going to be 2.5 seconds or less than that, I don't know if you can give them the cushion that they've been giving these receivers if that's the case.
Yeah, again, you're right on point. And what I would say is that for the first three games, you looked at their corners and said, well, these guys are good enough. They're playing well. But were they playing well, or were they the beneficiaries of how many times have you heard the cliche, it's pressure and coverage together, right? And good pressure can make coverage look better than it is. And good coverage can make pass rush better than it is, right? And so, I look at where they're at and think their coverage is not good enough. And it was good enough when they had a strong pass rush, but without it, not good enough. And I'm curious to see, I don't think Nate Hobbs has played great. I think Keyshawn Nixon has played well. I don't think he's played at an elite level, but they don't ask him to travel with the number one wide receiver, et cetera. So I think they can win with Keyshawn Nixon, but they need that other corner, and they need whoever's in the slot, whether it's Bullard or it's Hobbs moving inside and Carrington Valentine coming in. They need that slot guy to play at a high level, and they're going to be challenged. They were certainly challenged in the second half. I actually thought some of the coverage was good, but you're going against two of the best in the business, and they made their plays.
Jason, can the Packers win a division title with a negative turnover differential?
No, I don't think so. I suppose it's possible, but they're -1 now? They were even going in, right? And then Love threw the pick.
Yep.
I know I've said this before, but I really truly believe, not only in the NFL, but at any level of coaching, that you get what you emphasize. And who emphasizes takeaways more than the Packers? I mean, they have a dude they call the Ball King. they installed a light and siren in their meeting room, and they still only have 2 takeaways. So my expectation is that sooner or later, the emphasis will lead to results. But it's crazy that 5 games in, they have 2 takeaways. They're both interceptions, and they both happened, in week 1 and week 3. And frankly, one of them's a cheapie, right? I mean,
right.
It was Flacco throwing the ball downfield at the end of the half in Cleveland.
Yeah, McKinney probably should have just batted it down, right?
Yeah.
Play the possession game.
Right. 100% true. Yep.
It is funny because, as you mentioned, another cliche is, turnovers come in bunches. Well, apparently they do not. But they did last year for the Packers at an alarming rate. Xavier McKinney specifically. I don't know if he's just not being challenged the same way, Jason, or if that sink of the pass rush and sticky coverage that Gary suggests just isn't really there. And because the Packers have been leading primarily in the majority of these games, teams have kind of had to pass the ball. So, the fumble opportunities maybe aren't there like they are when the running game is more emphasized. Maybe I'm just making excuses, but it feels like a number that is destined to get better, but I don't know exactly when that pivot point will be.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I would also add that at least early on in the season, like yesterday, McKinney obviously had a chance to make a play on the touchdown to Chase. He got there a tick late. I would say that teams in the first 3 games definitely were avoiding him, which is smart football. But sooner or later, you have to find out ways to get your playmakers more involved. And I think that's something that Jeff Hafley's looking to do.
Always good to connect with Jason Wilde. We'll do it again next week. Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. And great written work at channel3000.com. Appreciate it, Jason. Thank you.
All right, fellas. Appreciate you. Take care. Be good.
Yep, you do the same.
Good
Jason
night.
Wilde joins us every week here on the program. And with that, Gary, we are out of time. Boy, that was like a track meet today.
Yeah, fast.
Track meet. Got to get to it here. Brewers baseball coming up after this here on ESPN Wisconsin. We will be back again next week, recapping the game against the Arizona Cardinals and looking ahead to a primetime matchup here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock before too long. Loving that.
Let's stay with Arizona, okay?
Okay, well, one thing at a time.
Stay there.
He's Gary. I'm Greg. Thanks to the folks here at Potawatomi, and we'll see you again next week on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Hi, I'm Tony Dungy, and I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible work being done by Prism